Hi, this is Kermit the Frog.
Fascinating.
I'm Captain Kirk.
Magic is always there,
Aye, sir.
long as we keep looking for it.
Engage.
What does God need with a starship?
Thank you, love you. Mwah.
I protest. I am not a merry man.
Places, please. And here we go.
Down at Fraggle Rock.
Welcome, Doozers, Gorgs, Trash Heaps, and Things. Oh, Tellurites and Things to episode 151 of the MuppeTrek Podcast. I'm Steve.
And I'm Jarman the Tellerite, and we're on a journey across the stars to compare and contrast the creative worlds of Jim Henson and that Gene Roddenberry.
What started as reviews of The Muppet Show and Star Trek the original series has expanded into outer space.
And this week we have Fraggle Rock episode Red's Sea Monster and Star Trek The Next Generation episode Shades of Grey, everyone's favorite.
Ooh.
But before we get into that wonderful gem, Steve, I want some other gems because I want to rock.
Well, there are all kinds of gems, jewels, and geodes in the world, many of which can be found in Fraggle Rock. This week's is Cinnabar. Cinnabar, it has a vibrant, beautiful red color. It is one of the most common of all of the mercury ores. It expands back through the ages. Ancient Rome, like feudal China, everyone used this as a red pigment crushed up in all sorts of things across the ages. And in holistic medicine, throughout the ages, it's used to ease times of transition and enhance vitality, which is all very, very funny because it has been giving people mercury poisoning since forever.
Of course.
This thing was in every red dye that was used and is why so many people that worked in textiles died early, had issues, because they were just exposed to crazy amounts of mercury from things like Cinnabar.
It's super pretty, but it'll kill you.
It's so beautiful, but it will murder you.
Wow.
So yeah, that's Cinnabar, and that rocks.
That rocks. I want to rock! Until you're dead.
That's right. Well, what's going down in Fraggle Rock? What's up, Doc? Doc is hanging some green, terrible-smelling plant out to dry. It turns out it's seaweed. And Gobo almost doesn't go get Uncle Traveling Matt's postcard because of it. Gobo is attacked by Sprocket, who gets tangled up in the hanging seaweed. Doc has started to dry and cultivate it as a delicious snack. Doc exposes the health benefits of the seaweed, but Sprocket's not buying it. Sprocket then tries to warn Doc about these creatures living behind the walls, but Doc doesn't believe him. This is one of the great times where Doc can somehow very clearly understand everything Sprocket's saying.
I gotta say real quick, my wife was that scene. She's just like, he's totally gaslighting Sprocket. What are you talking about? There's no creatures in the walls.
But in the end, Sprocket takes a liking to seaweed after all, and he is stuffed full. And that's what's going on with Doc. It was a more involved Doc plot. Down at Fraggle Rock, Red is in the pond getting ready to break Gobo's record for breath holding. It is revealed that Caller beetles?
Yeah.
They do all of their time measurements in people basically measuring in Mississippi's. Everyone gets different results, and it is basically determined that Red did not beat Gobo's score, even though Red is convinced that she does. We get to see Marvin again, the crazy, Renfield guy from the previous episode. Everyone counts at different rates. Red's pissed. She leaves. The smell of dry seaweed drifts into Fraggle Rock with Wembley, and Gobo and Wembley tell the others that about this magical wind machine that the in outer space that's blowing this awful smell into Fraggle Rock. Red accuses Gobo of being a glory stealer because he's there just to impress everyone while she's breaking records. And Wembley, to pass the time in this very awkward moment, reads Uncle Traveling Matt's postcard, where he is around a Fraggle pond, but he bumps into a silly creature, turns for a moment, and the silly creature seemingly splits into two identical creatures, much to his surprise. Red wanders about on her own, thinking about her place in the group. She sings a really nice song about simpler times, bring back the wonder. Just then, she is stalked by a purple vine of some sort that sounds like an elephant. She is spooked and runs to find the others. She tells them about this thing with its wind weapon blowing, but Gobo's like, hey, you're trying to steal my glory. We just came in talking about a wind weapon. You're making this up. Red takes everyone to find it, but the thing isn't there. Everyone thinks Red is just vying for attention, but she said she's going to stay until she sees the sea monster again. Red goes finding the purple thing once more. It turns out that the tentacle is attached to the head of this purple lily dragon thing. He can talk and says that he is the last of the lily creatures. He came because he smelled the lilies here. In Red's excitement, she accidentally scares the creature once more. She goes back to Fraggle Rock, and Marlin, the creepy Renfield guy, is the only one who's willing to go with her to be a witness. Marlin reveals himself to be a deeply sad and lonely Fraggle in this exchange.
Weirdo.
As they wait, Red thinks that the lily creature has finally arrived, but it is just Gobo wearing a fin. And I literally wrote just being a douchebag.
Yeah.
Red storms off very upset. She packs her things. She plans to live beside the pond until she can prove the sea monster exists. Meanwhile, back at the Fraggle hole, back at the pond, the lily pond, Marlin has set up a trap for the lily creature, and Red is appalled. Marlin wants popularity and the spotlight, and he will do anything, including capturing the lily creature. He accuses Red of wanting the same thing, and that's when she realizes that's not what she really wants. She admits that to everybody that she made it all up. And he swallows her pride, and everyone kind of forgives her and takes her back, but it's all to protect the lily monster and to make sure everyone leaves him alone.
Mm-hmm.
Red agrees to keep his secret as long as she can come back and visit him, and he says he comes back whenever the lilies come back. That was what was going on in Fraggle Rock.
I'm right.
So, Jordan, what did you think of this week's episode?
I at first thinking it's a very solid episode, and it is. It's some great effects. The lily creature was amazing. It was, I think, as big as it looked because it's that big compared to a regular Fraggle, not a mini Fraggle. And just a good story, but it's kind of ruined now by Gobo grating on me by always being the ringleader of treating the rest of his friends like crap, and they just kind of join in. So first it was Wembley, and they all band against Wembley, and Wembley goes off on his own because he's so depressed. Then Boober did it one time for that Boober's episode, Boober's Cave. And then there's Red now, and it's just like he's the ringleader, and he makes them feel like crap. And the problem with this episode for me is that it ends up being Red's problem to fix and not Gobo's problem. Like, she always wants attention. So instead of like going to why does she always want attention? What's the heart of that? Let's help her grow as a friend. They're like, well, that's just the way she is, but we're not going to change the way we act around her. She just has to get better. And like, she has to kind of swallow her pride and like not have any support from her friends. I don't know. It's just kind of like, it was a weird message, not quite delivered right. But like back then, maybe it made sense to be like, we accept our friend how she is because she likes attention. Instead of saying, why is our friend like this? Should we help her? Should we be more supportive? I don't know. I think the flip side of that coin is the Red focus, which I think is what they were hoping was going to redeem the situation which that you're talking about. In that she had every right to gloat. She would have been right about everything. She would have been able to rub it in Gobo's smug douche Fraggle face. That's right.
And she swallowed all that for a promise. So I think that's like that's the flip side of the coin you're talking about.
Yeah. That would have been good, but overall, she didn't get to do it.
some decent songs throughout. I'm finding the Red-centric episodes are more and more the more interesting ones because she does rash things.
True.
So because of that, it's always some crazy situation. She storms off and some crazy crap happens. Mind you, that's most of Fraggle Rock, just to be real.
Some crazy
crap. One of the Fraggle
happens.
storms off and some crazy crap happens. And then I loved the lily creature. I loved Red's scenes with the lily creature. Marlin, even, I thought was a great addition to this episode. I love him. Just a great little performance there. And for all those things, I think this does, for me, end up towards the top of the pile for this season so far.
I think it would, except for the fact that I just feel like Gobo's getting away with too much and never has any growing moments.
Gobo's just a douchebag, man.
Speaking of Marlon,
the fin thing. When he pretended and had the fin, I was like, man, what a
dick.
Moment.
But also Marlon, though, I love that they made one of his eyes half closed, so he's just that much more nuts. It's just like, so it's gonna be. It would have been higher, but I think more middle for me because they got to get Gobo his like change because he's a dick. Not all the time, man. But he's not good with his friends, and he's got to get better.
Yeah, you're right. So many of these start with like Gobo is rude about something. Person storms off. We found the equation, Jarman.
Yeah, exactly. It's Gobo's the impetus of making people leave and do something terrible every time. But yeah, the songs were good. But yeah, it was a good episode. Good episode.
Okay. Well, what the hell were those silly creatures up to this week? Uncle Traveling Matt experienced one of them splitting seemingly in half, and really it was just twins, where one arrived shortly after the other. Well, some fun factoids here. Twin births are actually on the rise. The global rate of twin births is going up significantly over decades, but it is basically prescribed to the fact that more people are doing fertility treatment, a lot of which can result in twins, and a lot more later in life pregnancies, which is resulting in more like fraternal twins.
Gotcha. Not identical twins necessarily.
There are mirror image twins, which is something I learned about late, which about 25% of identical twins are mirror images, meaning that they'll have birthmarks, but on the opposite side. Whoa. In the same pattern. Or their hair whirls in the opposite ways. Naturally.
That's cool.
Yeah, they are the mirror image.
And one's really nice, one's a dick.
It's only one in 4 sets.
There's the mirror image version of yourself.
Some twins speak their own language. This, of course, was made famous in the movie Nell, Jodie Foster. It is actually called cryptophagia, and often develops in early childhood. And then there is a very rare thing called heteropaternal superfunctionation. Okay, hold on.
Sure.
Heteropaternal superfecundation.
Bless you.
Yes, supercalifragilistic superfecundation. Where two twins, fraternal, can have different fathers. If a woman releases 2 eggs and has intercourse with 2 men in a short time frame, in theory, it has happened where one is done by one sperm and one's done by the other.
Fantastic.
So that's a goal to aim for.
Just be doing it a lot when you're off birth control and you're ovulating. Just go for that.
It's a later in life birth.
If I get one of those when this baby comes out, there's actually 2 of them, and one of them super fragilistic XBL funkish, I'm gonna be a little upset.
But what if one of them has superpowers?
Well, then that might do it. That'd be okay. We can make money off that.
So, German, what did you think was the best Muppeteering moment this week?
I think we'll probably agree on this, but it was the crazy monster. It was...
Yeah, the Lily Dragon.
Yeah, it was beautifully made. I loved hearing it talk. It has this mystical sounding voice.
It had a great voice. I don't even know who did that voice, but it was great.
Yeah, and like even the little bits on its nose had a little bit of algae on it and stuff, and just like the thing coming out the top of its head, like a little like trunk and everything. It was fantastic. I wasn't expecting it, so that was awesome.
Yeah, and then I think that the puppet was really successful and was able to interact with Red really well, which made the scenes between them really, really nice. And
yeah, it was puppeteered well.
The Lily Dragon all day long.
Absolutely.
So, Jarman, what did we watch on Star Trek this week?
The season finale of season 2 of Star Trek Shades of Grey. As you're, of course, expecting some big monumental episode, the whole universe is at stake. But
you would think for a season finale, right?
You're right. But no, it's a clip show for some reason, which we'll get into later in the trivia. But we have Shades of Grey. So we're on an away mission in the middle of it. We don't know what's going on, but on a swampy planet where something goes wrong and Riker gets jabbed by a thorn from some local plant. And so Geordi is all there with them and they're concerned for his safety. So they take him back to the Enterprise. Dr. Pulaski discovers the thorn injected some fast-moving neural parasite that's crawling up his nervous system towards his brain. But if it gets to his brain, he's going to die. But to save him, they'll have to get a sample from the plant. So they send Geordi and Data back to the planet to get one. And they have some little funny interactions while they do so. So that was kind of amusing. But they get a little thorn and they bring it back to the ship. And eventually Pulaski's hitting a wall. She can't figure out what's wrong. Picard's like, orbiting around her saying, what can I do to help? And she's like, maybe get out of my hair, which I like that moment as well. So he leaves her alone. She finally figures out that they have this experimental possible treatment that she'll hook Riker up to this device that stimulates memories and emotion centers in his brain. Because if the plant gets to his brain matter, and it'll shut it down. But if he activates that brain matter, it might keep stop the infection from growing and maybe even stop it entirely. So they want to activate his brain and slow down the infection and hopefully eradicate it. And of course, this is what causes our clip show. I mean, Riker's brain to flip through his past adventures. So first we get some romantic encounters. Basically, every time he plays a total pimp daddy Mac on any kind of girl in the universe, we get to see those scenes the last 2 seasons.
Including Guinan.
I love that scene. I'm glad we got to see it again. But then we go and we see that suddenly these romantic scenes, when they're stimulating pleasant memories, especially when he gets horny, that only strengthens the virus and the infection. So then she stimulates a different part of his brain to go to some near-death situations and fights and battles. And that seems to be doing even better. What seems to kill the infection even worse is when they stimulate memories of people dying, dire situations where he's not going to be able to survive, near-death situations kind of deal, and stressful, painful, fear-based memories. And he's freaking out a little bit while he's sleeping. But Troy comes to kind of steady him and hold his hand, and she's rubbing his hair and kind of guiding him through it as we watch clip after clip of the show go through. But these memories start to work, and it's slowing down the infection until it finally eradicates it completely. The parasite's flushed out of Riker's system, and he wakes up kind of groggy, but otherwise none the worse for wear. And then that's our wonderful, impactful season 2 completion right there with shades of gray.
Sweet ending, dude.
So, Steve, what do you think of this episode?
Okay. Some things I liked.
Sure.
The opening premise, I dug. Way mission, down the planet. Riker's down there. Normally, he's like left on the ship. Picard,
True.
Him on the way team, great to get to see. Him getting injured, super compelling. Everything was good. I had no problem with this episode until the clip show started. And that is what made this episode extra disappointing, is I liked the opening. I liked the premise, and they threw it away.
Completely.
On a clip show episode. And I've got a theory as to how this occurred. I can see this happening. So, Deanna Troi was there with him the whole time. She has like quasi-psychic empath. I know they say empath, but they play it psychic enough that it was like she goes and then she has to go into his dreams while he's getting his thing. And he'll go through all these old memories and Deanna Troi will be there with him. And someone went, do you know how expensive that's going to be to reshoot and change all that stuff? And someone went, yeah, but it'll be a great episode. It's the season finale. And they're like, we are out of budget. So we'll do it until he's passed out and then we'll just play a bunch of clips. And some writer was like, no, that's not what I wanted. And they're like, end of season. Clips.
It's fun.
That's what this felt like. It felt like a great episode until that, and then it all fell apart.
That's what I put, is that I was surprised. I didn't remember what the framing device was for this episode. I remember it being a clip episode. But the fact that they actually seemed to spend a little bit more money than I would have expected from a clip episode. They had that whole outdoor set. They had that big machine they had to build, that big prop to go into his brain. And they had a lot of the actors there, Geordi, Data, Picard, everybody kind of popped up and showed up. So they had to pay everybody except for Worf, I think, and Wesley. But I was like, they spent more money than they kind of needed to on a clip episode. But so that's why the framing device, like you said, was actually pretty interesting.
It was great until that.
Yeah.
And then I remember, I wish I could recapture this moment because we already talked about this kind of. But then when you were like, oh, and it's the season finale, my outrage quadrupled.
Because you already watched it, I think.
Exponential. Because I'd already watched it. And my outrage just soared to the heavens. I was like, they wasted this shit on this finale?
Because I can even see a clip episode right before the finale, kind of like reminding you of what's happened almost. And then all of a sudden it's the last episode. Like, why? Why would you do that?
No offense. Season 2 is, I think it's just cocky. Season 2 is too early for a clip episode.
I agree.
You have not had enough seasons to warrant this.
It'll be fine. They'll keep watching. We don't need a cliffhanger or anything. Oh man.
So I had issues with this episode that were irredeemable by the good premise. Sneak peek for later, bottom 3.
Yeah. We will be talking about our bottom 3 of the season later on shortly.
That's right.
Wow.
Spoilers.
I don't have that button queued up. I wish.
Too bad we don't have it on the board. Damn it.
I never put it on the board for MuppeTrek. I should have.
Put it in a spoilers flag.
There we go. Now I put a spoilers flag in. Okay, so some facts for this episode. How are we going to have trivia for this? It was so short, but we do. When the producers made the episode Q Who earlier in the season, the episode went way over budget, and the money ran out at the end of the season. So to cut costs,
I told you. This is how it happened.
So to cut costs, they had to do a clip show, such as Shades of Grey is often considered the worst episode of TNG, and even the producers admitted they were embarrassed by it. But then we have a conflicting piece of trivia coming right after that. It says this is a clip show episode. This was necessitated by the writer's strike, which shortened TNG season from 26 episodes to 22. So I'm like, which is it? Did they run out of budget, or was it the writer's strike, or was it both? I don't know.
I think it could be both, because here's the thing. Studios like this have these episodes in the can, have them waiting. So I think that spells out even further, reinforces my theory, because someone had a real strong premise. Someone pulled a script out of dust, dusted it off, and then went, okay, now we got to make it a recap episode. Yeah,
or because they would have had it already written, but they had to rewrite it to make it so it's using less of the writer's writing. I don't know. It's complicated. This also, depressingly, was the final appearance of Dr. Catherine Pulaski, played by Diana Muldaur.
Oh, that's a damn shame. Did they ever say?
Well, it says, unlike most series regulars, she never returned for a guest appearance after her time as the regular ended and was rarely ever mentioned by the remaining cast. But I'm hoping, I don't remember if season 3, episode 1 mentions her and says, oh yeah, she was off on vacation or getting her second doctorate or something. I don't know. We'll see what they actually say. Hopefully they say one line of dialogue.
Well, I mean, even with Tasha Yar, we've gotten a couple like hologram.
Oh yeah, she's mentioned a lot.
Post-mortem appearances.
They liked her a lot more, I guess.
I guess
at the 50th anniversary Star Trek convention in Las Vegas, which was a big convention that year, and in August 2016, fans voted, and this is the 5th worst episode of the Star Trek franchise. So not even
the entire franchise.
Yeah.
Are any of the other bottom 5 in TNG?
Probably, but maybe Code of Honor.
Code of Honor is real bad.
Riker's joke about the dying snake is a nod to a story about the famously ornery director John Ford. So in the Riker jokes in the episode, he said, my grandfather, Riker, was a very strong man. The snake bit him, and 2 weeks later, the snake died, but he was fine. That was kind of the joke he made.
Yeah.
So when Ford was directing John Wayne in The Searchers, he was stung by a scorpion. The producer was afraid that if Ford died, the production would be shut down and the studio would lose a great amount of money. So he asked John Wayne if Ford was going to die. And John Wayne said he would check on him. And when he returned, he said, Ford's just fine. It was the scorpion who died. That's what he said. So that was John Wayne. So the scorpion died.
Not a bad John Wayne.
There we go. And also, coincidentally, a little connection here. In that movie, The Searchers, Jeffrey Hunter was his co-star for John Wayne. And he's the actor who played Christopher Pike in the first pilot of Star Trek.
Oh, okay.
They were together in that movie.
I remember he was known for Westerns at the
That's
time.
right. Wagon Train to the Stars. This is the final appearance of the main cast in the season 1 spandex uniforms. So from this season to season 3, they get the one they're going to have the rest of the season, where the main cast began wearing a more comfortable wool version of the uniform though the season 1 uniforms will continue to appear in the background extras and in time travel or flashback scenes. So now we'll get the pull down, the Riker, maneuver where he pulls down the top shirt, because instead of one big long piece, he'll have a shirt and pants that he pulls down. All right, so that's our Trek facts. So now,
I can't wait to watch him adjust his pants.
Oh, it's wonderful. So how do we want to do this? We do our previous ones first, or do we do this season first, then we go into our all-times?
This season, we talk about the old 3, and then we say if anything joins.
Right. So what is your first pick for your favorite episodes of this season?
Okay, so in no particular order.
Yeah.
First is a Matter of Honor. Some great Picard and Riker scenes. That's the one where they go to shooting practice and Picard kind of pushes Riker towards this guest command thing on a Klingon ship. Great world building, big glimpses into Klingon culture and interactions. Excellent Riker episode. Great Worf episode on the other side of things. And just a great Star Trek end when Riker is in command of the Klingon vessel and gets the Enterprise to surrender to end the confrontation with the Klingons, because for the Klingons, it wouldn't be honorable.
If they gave up or something.
He diffuses it and then turns back over command to the Klingon commander. Just great. So yeah, Matter of Honor. Top notch.
My first pick is also a Matter of Honor.
Yeah.
Woo! I just can't. I love the scenes. That one guest actor who plays the real tall Klingon, who we talked about, or that episode where he's like a guest in so many shows in the 80s and 90s. Like, he's this big, strong dude. Just to see Riker kick his ass and to get all the respect of the Klingons, like, got to be one of my favorite, Starfleet Klingon interactions of like any series, because I'm not a huge Klingon guy, but that was just like, oh yeah, this is Riker showing how much of a badass he is. But you can still tell that, like, I think later on he even admits, he's like, I'm not doing that ever again, because it's like, it was scary, but he pretends he wasn't scared, and it was just, yeah. And then just good Riker moments, good all around. Yeah. Fantastic episode. So we share one.
Right, well, that's 1 for 1. All right. My second one, The Measure of a Man. Excellent premise. Exploring, is Data a being, a person, or a thing? Great Riker episode where he has to act as the prosecution, sort of against his will. Caused great conflict in the story and great acting, actually. From Frakes.
It's like a play. It's like watching a play.
Picard's friction with the standing judge, the other commander, really helped to amp everything up and build that tension. It was just the tension in the episode was really, really well done. And Guinan has a great moment, maybe her most finessed, with Picard, where she's downplaying everything. And that's what makes Picard realize what a huge deal this is, not just for Data, but for other beings that could come after.
She basically plays him. She plays devil's advocate. She's like there.
It's so good. For all those factors, it ends up right at the top of the heap. Measure of a Man.
My number 2 is Measure of a Man.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite episodes ever of Star Trek. I mean, I just love this episode, and just really early on sets up Data as how they value him as a human being, and also the budding friendship of Data with Geordi, but also Data and Picard. And then it reminds me so much of all the con appearances I've seen of Patrick Stewart and Brent Spiner, just like some of the best friends in real life. Like but it starts here in this relationship. And like I was saying, like, it feels like it's just a play is happening instead of an episode of Star Trek. We're watching this trial play out in front of us. And it was just so well done. Yeah. Measure of Man, classic episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
2 for 2.
All right. So my third one, Q-Who. Huge Borg implications and lore drops. We get great Guinan lore in there.
Oh, yeah.
The relentlessness of the Borg. They're my favorite villain. Q just playing with Picard, getting to see Picard just have nothing left. And to like kind of beg Q. Like, you wanted to make a point, you've made it.
Stop it.
Which is so well acted and brought the end together. So because of that, I got to give it to Q-Who.
I don't know if you saw at this point, if you scroll down, but my third is Q-Who.
Oh, did we completely 100% matched on this season?
I was like, he couldn't have seen these because I put them in separately. I'm like, no way, he didn't see my picks. But yeah,
No.
Q, introduction of Borg. We had a more hammy episode with Q. I think the last one was Encounter at Farpoint, the first episode. I think this is the second time we see Q, and it gets more serious real quick. Little less hammy, more like and yeah, showing Picard goes like, I'm going to figure out a way to get out of this. And finally, Picard just breaking down and say, we'll do whatever you want. Just get this the hell out of here. Like, we understand. We're not ready. Fine. Yeah. I mean, how do you get bigger than that? And then the Borg just has staying power forever. So Q.
Absolutely.
3 for 3.
I want to give a special mention, though.
Okay.
To something that was very close, and that is The Emissary, which we watched relatively recently.
Oh.
About Worf's relationship sort of to his Klingon existence, his ex-lover who's wrestling with her own Klingon side, spurned him because he wanted devotion and she couldn't lock herself down. The only episode that probably actually passes the Bechdel test. We talked about it at the time.
So far.
2 female characters have like a 45-second scene, and that's not about a man.
Right.
It's just incredible.
And they're just meeting each other. So that was great.
It was a huge win of an episode, and it almost made the top.
Yeah,
so
I think
that's
so
special
much,
mention.
It's probably so much better than a majority of season 1 episodes on its own. Like,
that is correct.
Yeah, it was a really good episode. That's true.
All right, now let's talk bottom of the barrel, baby.
Bottom barrel.
All right, so once again, in no particular order, the Schizoid Man.
Oh, okay.
This is the one that features the guy who refers to himself as Data's grandfather because he was the teacher of Noonien Soong. His character was deeply unlikable and abrupt, both from a writing and acting perspective. It was all too thick. This led to him passing on his ego to Data, which was a weird premise. And there was a lot of psychology mumbo jumbo that they applied to it that didn't need to be there.
I could see that.
And then in the end, it was solved by Picard talking Data back. It was just lackluster through and through and did not have enough redeeming points. So the Schizoid Man finds the bottom.
I did remember looking through and remembering that one. I was like, I didn't remember it being particularly terrible, but it was just like, yeah, it wasn't great. It just didn't do what it was trying to do very well. What a weird name for an episode. But my first one is the first episode of season 2, The Child.
That one was down there.
Yeah.
And in fact, I kind of forgot it existed until the recap episode showed a thing,
a
little clip from it. And I went, oh, yeah.
That did bring it fresher into my mind. But also I looked through my notes in that for episode 2, and it was like, yeah, the very rapey vibes of like just how she gets pregnant, and then she's way too obsessed with this weird alien child, and it just did not play Troy in a very good way, and it was just it didn't live up to the rest of the goodness of season 2. I was just like, this doesn't belong here at all. So one of many strange ghost alien mind violations that happen to women throughout Next Generation we'll run into, but that was the first one, and it's not good.
I can see all of that.
Yeah.
All right. My next one. Pen Pals.
Okay.
Wesley leading his first team was interesting, but it didn't build correctly to have impact of him failing. It was just about him facing command. So that fell short. It started out as the Wesley Central plot, and then somewhere in the middle, they switched it.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
To the Data plot and him talking to the little girl across space and her planet. And then it went to a weird existential place. They were having this discussion about the Prime Directive, and they start talking about, but like, what if it's the cosmic plan? What if it's the greater will? And it's like almost religious and really muddied up something that didn't need to be muddied up. Between the muddled A and B plots, the little girl at the end, the whole thing, the words that we used both were clunky. The whole thing felt clunky.
Yeah, that's true. That definitely fits. And these are already worst of seasons that are still better than some of our worst of seasons from season 1, but we'll see. I will say my next one is going to be Where Silence Has Lease. This was where originally it was going to be something that Klingons thought was like the Klingon hell they were finding in space. But then they just dropped that entirely and it became some weird all-powerful deity thing that had nothing to do with the Klingon hell. It was this big baby face in space. And to me,
I remember that goofy. Yeah.
Yeah. And it just felt,
I can see it in my head.
It felt totally like a leftover TOS, like original series episode that just
huge floating space body part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this is just they had the space to fill. They pulled an old script, dusted it off and changed the names of like Kirk and Spock and just like floated in here. It didn't feel modern. It didn't feel important. It was like a retread of everything we've seen 1,000 times in TOS episode. So I was like, I didn't need that one at all. So that was my next one.
Fair. Okay, my last one, and this is in order because I hate this one the most. Shades of Grey.
Me too. I want to say it right now. Me too. That's my last one.
My only notes are a recap episode. What a bag of shit. That is literally my only note about it here.
It's like we're required to put this in our bottom 3 because it's not a full episode, and they labeled it as one. So it's like, what do they want us to do with the scrap? I mean, it's crap. It's the framing device is better than I thought. And it was actually better than most other clip shows from other shows where it's like they barely even try to do a framing device around it. So I'll give them that, but it's still it's crap compared to every other episode because it's not a full episode. So what can I do?
Yeah.
My hands are tied.
Feel it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yep.
Okay. So now let's do a quick recap of my top 3. My bottom 3. If anything changes places, then we'll do a recap of your top 3, bottom 3. If anything changes places.
Yes.
All right. So my old top was Data Lore, Conspiracy, and When the Bow Breaks. And bottom, Code of Honor, which we've already badmouthed, Too Short a Season, and The Arsenal of Freedom. Well, I got to say there's some major swap ups here.
Oh, okay.
My new top. The 3 from this season, Measure of a Man, Q-Who, and Matter of Honor, knock out all 3 from season 1. And Data Lore almost kept its space, but they're between Measure of a Man and Data Lore as data episodes, Measure of the Man was better.
That makes sense, yeah.
So it took its place. It just did. So all 3 are knocked out. I've got a brand new top 3 as we go into season 3.
Good. It means Star Trek's getting better.
That's right. My bottom 3 before were Code of Honor, Too Short a Season, Arsenal of Freedom. The new bottom 3, Code of Honor keeps its place. Bad racist implications, weird fight scenes with Tasha Yar.
Mm-hmm.
Arsenal of Freedom keeps its place. Like it's all just a trap someone left years ago.
Oh, that
answering
one.
service
With the
it's
wizard
like an
or whatever.
advertisement for guns. And the new one, Shades of Grey. Shades of Grey joins the bottom 3 and knocks out Too Short a Season.
That's fair. That's fair. My old all-time favorites were just season 1 at that point. So top 3 was Encounter at Farpoint, the pilot episode, 2-parter, kind of a cheat, I guess. Symbiosis, which I had to look up. Says like, why was that my top 3? But I really did like it. It was the alien, 2 alien races living on 2 different planets, and one was like feeding the other one drugs.
Yeah, and the drugs.
Yeah, I just thought that had a really good point, and it was very Star Trek-y.
It was.
And then Justice, which can be kind of a silly episode, but it was the one where the woman was it's a maternal planet, and no, that's not the one. That's the Angel one. Justice is the one where Wesley steps in the flower with all the naked people.
Oh, and they have to murder him.
Yeah. I was like, that's a great Star Trek plot. And I love to look at all the beautiful people. And I thought it was a great episode. Bottom 3 of season 1, Code of Honor, of course.
Mm-hmm.
The Last Outpost, which I believe is the Ferengi introduction with the whips and everything. And then Angel 1, which is what I was thinking of, which was done very poorly, which is the one where the maternal planet, it turned out being very sexist. They didn't do it right at all. Where Riker,
they tried really hard. It just ended up double sexist.
It was the worst. They could have done so much better.
I agree.
They flopped that one entirely. But I'm going to lose 2 from my top 3. So I'm keeping Encounter at Farpoint. Encounter at Farpoint, I still love. It's starting the whole series off. Really hard to knock that one out. I'm sure one will eventually, but that one's staying there. But I'm getting rid of Symbiosis and putting in Measure of a Man. Getting rid of Justice and putting in Q-Who.
Wow. So right now we have a top 6, which is really only 4 episodes.
Yes, that's true.
Wow.
I didn't put Matter of Honor there because it was good, but the Klingon stuff didn't surpass my love of the pilot.
That's fair. And that's fair.
The new all-time bottom, still keeping Code of Honor. I still keeping Last Outpost because I don't think it's worse. I don't think the other ones are worse than that. But I'm going to replace Angel 1 because even though it flopped things very badly, I'm putting in Shades of Grey.
That's how even our bottom kind of end up in the same pattern. One gets knocked out, Shades of Grey goes down.
Yep, Shades of Grey's got to go on there.
Get down there where you belong.
Yeah.
Well, you heard it here. We're now through 2 seasons. We're about to embark on a third. If anything, this and recapping this makes me that much more excited as we get into season 3 to think that every single one of my favorite episodes from last season was not as good.
Yeah,
as my
that is
3
great.
favorite. Every single one got knocked. Makes me excited for 3, 4.
And maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't keep happening. We'll see.
We'll see. But I know that, but like 3, 4 is like the bread and butter for most fans.
That's true.
Like we're getting into the good times.
Mm-hmm.
So, but before we jump into season 3, let's talk about Trek Connections.
Yeah.
The episode we talked about today. So it was a bottle episode. Because of that, I could have like gone back and rehashed old ones because we saw so many cameos and stuff. But I decided to go with just some general ones. Will Wheaton, in 1988, he appeared on the cover of Muppet Magazine, where he had an interview with Dr. Julia Strangefork of the Swine Trek.
I'd love to read that.
And then Brent Spiner, it turns out, I didn't know this, he was in the original cast of Stephen Sondheim's Sunday in the Park with George.
Wow.
He was in the original cast with Bernadette Peters, who was, of course, a Muppet Show special guest star.
That's true. Wow.
Yeah. And it makes sense because these were the same episode.
Oh, they were so similar. I mean, both feature characters exaggerating their accomplishments in a way. Red saying she stayed underwater for 11 seconds. Did she? And Riker claiming he was feeling just fine after his planetary injury and infection. He wasn't fine. He's exaggerating.
Right.
Yeah.
Both feature troublesome plants. The vines that strike and infect Riker and the seaweed troubling Sprocket.
Oh, that's true. Both feature characters seeing something the other characters don't. Red sees the sea monster when no one else does, and they don't believe her. Riker is seeing these flashback memories that no one else can see but him. Yeah.
Mine is similar. Both feature characters recounting things that have already happened. Riker in the stupid recap episode, and Wembley reading Uncle Traveling Matt's postcard.
Oh, that's fair.
A flashback to Uncle Traveling Matt.
Flashbacks all around. Oh, God. What's that noise?
Transporter malfunction. Transporter malfunction.
All right, it's time of the episode where we transport one character from one episode to the other, and then vice versa. So what you got for us, Steve?
Trek to rock this week. I'm going to bring over Deanna Troi and have her replace Red. I just really like the idea of her making an empathic connection with a lily dragon, and then doing whatever she can to protect it.
Because she would, and mine would. It's very similar. I'm having Troi come over to replace Marlin. Because I was like, she'd be
helpful.
She'd be less creepy. She'd be a good person for Red to have around while Red's crashing out, basically. And Troi would sense that Red wasn't lying, first of all. And then she'd also be able to sense the presence of the sea monster if it was even close by. So she'd be like, oh, Red's not lying. She's telling the truth. So I think that'd be perfect for a little companion. Muppets
to rock this week. This isn't even really, I kind of cheated here. I want to bring over Marlin and just make him Pulaski's assistant, following her around the med bay, dreaming and speculating about the worst things that could possibly happen to Riker. His body could decompose. But we're not going to let that happen. Oh, no. And Marlin just being stoked.
I love how your Marlin is Vincent Price on cocaine.
That's kind of what Marlin was.
Yeah, it kind of is. I didn't realize it till now. Rock to Trek. I'm going to have Doc come over to replace Dr. Pulaski. He just makes some strange contraption to save Riker, and it definitely won't work. And he'll be real positive about it the whole time, and then Riker's going to die, and things get really dark.
Yeah, dude, I can get on board with that.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
We've had a couple darker Fraggle Rock episodes. I'm here for it.
That's true. This one wasn't too dark, but we can make it darker.
Sure, we'll make
that
it
brings us to the end of episode 151 of the MuppeTrek Podcast.
Join us next time for Fraggle Rock episode Uncle Matt Comes Home.
And Star Trek The Next Generation episode Evolution.
So from the lovers, the dreamers, and us.
Live long and prosper, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the MuppeTrek Podcast. Be sure to follow us on social media on Facebook and Twitter.
Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
This podcast has been brought to you by A Play on Nerds.